It is 5:15 in the afternoon, May 19, 2025. Commissioners Ron Palladino, Commissioners Tony Lopez, Commissioner Fran Collier Clemens are present. We have a quorum, and we will begin our meeting with a motion to approve the minutes. You're all on mute, commissioners.
I move that we approve the minutes. Sorry.
Okay. Are there any corrections, deletions, omissions?
I have none.
I have none.
Okay. All in favor of accepting minutes as they've been submitted, please
Aye.
say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved as submitted. Our next item for is public comment. Is there anyone here from the public who would like to address the commission on items that are on our agenda? All right, seeing that there are none, we will move to our next item, which is recognition. Chief.
Yes. Good afternoon. For April 2025 Officers of the Month, I'm honored to inform the Commission that Officers Andy Mancini, Officer Caden Darrow, and Officer Omar Rivera were named April 2025 Officer of the Month. They were chosen for their heroic actions on April 30th, 2025 at a house fire at 30 Lexington Avenue. They responded quickly to an active structure fire, entered the building, and evacuated a resident under hazardous conditions. On April 30th, 2025, Officers Andy Mancini, Caden Darrow, and Omar Rivera, who's present with us today, were dispatched to an active structure fire at 30 Lexington Avenue. The reports were that smoke could be seen billowing from the house and that parties could still be inside. Upon their arrival, all three officers quickly forced entry to the first floor and found multiple residents seemingly unaware of a fire on the third floor due to a lack of smoke detectors. They quickly evacuated the first floor residents, efficiently making their way to the third floor, scaling the rear fire escape to the third floor and forcing entry, ensuring that all residents were evacuated as they made their way to the top floor. The Norwalk Fire Department arrived on the scene and extinguished the fire, which took well over an hour to combat due to hoarding type situations living in this situation inside. It was a multi-apartment structure, which made the fire very difficult to fight. Officers Andy Mancini, Caden Darrow, and Officer Omar Rivera acted calmly and without hesitation when entering the structure and putting themselves in harm's way to evacuate the occupants of 30 Lexington Avenue. In addition, the occupants had no idea there was an active fire on the third floor of the residence. Due to their heroic response on April 30th, 2025, and their continued dedication to the city of Norwalk, I have named Officers Mancini, Darrow, and Officer Rivera Officers of the Month for April 2025.
Congratulations, officer. I see Officer Rivera is here. We're very thankful that you responded and there were no lives that were injured or lost. Thank you so much for your heroism.
Thank you.
Commissioners?
Yeah, I too want to commend and congratulate Officer Rivera, Mancini, and Darrow for their heroic efforts. It really says a lot that you don't think twice about getting into harm's way to save a life. And, it's obvious here that you did all you could, and we appreciate that very much, as I'm sure the residents of that building also.
Yes, I would like to thank all the officers for the heroic job that they've done. And Officer Rivera, thank you so much. Your professionalism is what makes Norwalk proud, and I appreciate what you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Yes, and I must say that in a culture where people say, well, that's not my job. I'm a police officer. I'm not a fireman. You all didn't think once at all about that. It was just about saving lives, and we appreciate that, and we salute you and honor you for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Omar.
Yes, sir.
And thank you for coming this afternoon.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, our next item is the Chief's Executive Report for April.
Yes. For April 2025, the chief's executive report is 181 sworn personnel at the end of April, 2 open sworn positions. There's been no personnel changes in April. 1 officer is on administrative leave pending an internal affairs investigation. 2 officers on an extended workman's comp. Sick days used 137.7. Workman's compensation days used 42.75. Lateral transfer Hans Boa background investigation concluded. He was interviewed by the police commission in April. Start date was May 8th, 2025. Civilian personnel updates. There's 19 telecommunicators, supervisors assigned to combined dispatch. Currently, there are 2 open positions. 2 conditional job offers were given to 2 candidates pending background investigation. Just as an update on that, we are not moving forward with 1 candidate, so we have filled the 1 position currently this week, so we are still 1 down in civilian dispatch. 14 civilian employees assigned to support staff positions. No further civilian personnel changes. Stolen car year-to-date data, January 1st, 2024 to May 1st, 2024. The city of Newark had 45 stolen cars. January 1st, 2025 to May 1st, 2025, 27. We saw a 40% decline in stolen cars. In 2025, 60% of the stolen cars had their keys left inside. So that's still a major issue within the city, and we're trying to educate that and message that people need to lock their cars and take their fobs inside. What we're finding out is most of the stolen cars are just joyriders, and with the keys being left inside, it's adding to this data. So it's not real stolen cars, it's just joyriders. Major index crimes down 29% January 1st, 2025 to May 1st, 2025 compared to January 2024 to May 1st, 2024. 2 significant motor vehicle accidents occurred in April, requiring follow-up and investigation by members of our traffic unit. There wasn't just an arrest made 2 days ago on the one that occurred on Wilson Avenue and the one that occurred on West Avenue, which was a fatal MVA, which is still under investigation in conjunction with the state's attorney's office in Stanford.
Chief,
Finance and current.
Chief, just before you move from that, I want to ask you, you say it's considered a joyride if the keys are left in the car and a person takes it who's not the owner?
It's still a stolen car. It's not being stolen for a crime, to commit a crime. Most of our stolen cars are juveniles who steal car and they drive around neighborhoods to see what cars have their fobs in them, and they're trying door handles. And believe it or not, some makes and models in cars, especially the European models, when you drive past a driveway, if the fob is inside the car, you can tell that the fob is inside the car by the location of the side view mirrors. So there's a lot of things that are occurring which contribute to our data of stolen cars in the city. And if we had residents take normal precautions such as locking their cars and taking their fobs inside and their keychains inside, our stolen cars would drop dramatically in this city. With the installation of the license plate reader to detect stolen car activity and other proactive patrols, especially on the midnight shift when most of these do occur, we've been effective in deterring that, but they still occur. And as you can see, 60% of our stolen cars have their keys left inside. So that's significant.
You made a reference, Chief, to the educational part. Can you unpack that a little bit? And that's one aspect, with people leaving their fobs and their keys in the car. What about on the other side with the juveniles? Are they being, either warned, or what kind of repercussions, or are they being informed in school? This is the result if you do this.
In the schools and the SROs, societal normal consequences for actions. Usually, most times, also those lessons are learned at home.
Right.
In regards to a lot of the juvenile, we have not made too many arrests in the stolen cars because they engage the officers in pursuit, and that becomes.
I'm sorry, you broke up a little. Can you repeat that little part?
Yeah, I says, when we do see juveniles or just suspects in stolen cars and officers go to pull them over, 95% of them engage the officers in a high-speed pursuit. they don't pull over. So it becomes a dangerous situation for a property crime, and the state of Connecticut forbids police pursuits for property crimes. It's just merely a property crime. There's no victims. There's no injury going on. There was no assault going on. So we will not chase simple stolen cars.
So they wind up not being apprehended.
Yes, sir. Yes. So sometimes we are successful through DNA or other circumstances to identify the operators and working with stolen car task forces or other jurisdictions and apprehending them through warrants and juvenile referrals. But a lot of the stolen car prosecution in the state of Connecticut is not successful.
So is that law hindering your efforts, possibly?
I wouldn't say hindering. It's just something that has gone with the times in the evolution of law enforcement, weighing the impact to civilian traffic and the risk benefit measures of high-speed pursuits for a possibly a 16-year-old or a 15-year-old at times driving a stolen car who doesn't have the best driving ability and who may make bad decisions and risk civilian life.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Moving on to finance and current fiscal year budgeting, all budgets currently monitored by Mr. Dossimo. The appended spreadsheets for April 2025 budgeting status that we are currently approaching end of fiscal year, looking for the new fiscal budget. So we are wrapping up this fiscal year. All operating salary and overtime budgets are tracked in the green for 7 months through the fiscal year. As you can see in our administrative report, uniform patrol overtime down 35%, special services overtime down 41% from 2024, detective bureau overtime up 36%. We did see a little jump in some of their special activities in regards to the car accidents because they also assist us in some of the crime scene things, and we also did have some proactive patrols at night by the detective bureau, so there was some overtime expenditures. Training division overtime up 50% because we had a lot of recertification training. We're also doing spring firearms, spring patrol rifle qualifications. We're doing EMR qualifications, so some of training is good overtime, and we're still within budget. Special victims overtime up 15% from April 2024, but still tracking in the green. That just ebbs and flows with case flow, I should say, as the case demand occurs. Sometimes with the spring, at the end of the school year, things start to get active within the schools. OT and 5 accounts being monitored down 8% from April 2024 and up 31% from March 2025. State and federal asset forfeiture balance $267,537. Asset forfeiture ending balance up 20% from March 2025. As you can see, I've broken down the school security overtime through the end of April. As you can see, it does fluctuate based on the number of school days, half days, and other special assignments that the school security overtime entails. I've also listed alarm administrative collection information, which is just a normal processing of alarm fines for false alarms and the registration of alarms in the city of Norwalk. There was 910 extra work jobs scheduled in April, and 825 of those 910 were worked. That is a 91% staffing rate. The officers worked 9,738 hours of extra work. They were called off or canceled 99 times. As you can see, various record department data from gun permits, fingerprints, other record requests. As you can see, we remain busy in the administrative section. We have used 77% of our salaries through 10 months, so that is still tracking below, and only 58% of our overtime budget through 10 months of the fiscal year. So we're still tracking in the green. And both of those accounts still providing a lot of overtime within the month of April, especially for training. I'll give you a minute to look at that for any questions. As you can
This is an
see,
excellent
last,
job.
excuse me?
I said, this is an excellent job so far.
Thank you. As you can see, a comparison of salary overtimes, July 2024 through April 2025. Salaries and overtime broken down by month. They remain consistent. As you can see, mostly overtime is usually centered around training in the police department and other initiatives. But they've all remained steady. And on the last page, there is a sick time and comp time breakdown. As you can see, we had a significant drop in sick time from March to April, approximately 47 days less than last month. That does fluctuate with the season and other factors.
This is an excellent report. Chief, is there any correlation between the fact that we are almost fully staffed in comparison to keeping within budget or below budget? Because I noticed we've only spent 77% of the budget for salaries, which is about 3/4 of the budget, but we only have 2 months left. So it's good to propose that maybe we will still be a little bit under by the end of the year. Does that have
Yes.
anything to do with the fact that we are fully staffed and we don't have to pay so much overtime?
Yeah, full staffing is understaffing is definitely a causation for more overtime.
Mhm.
When it comes to salary, when we're in the green in the salary, sometimes we had officers take a leave of absence, so that they don't get paid on a leave of absence. We've
Okay.
had a couple retirements that we didn't expected. So they retire. We had Lieutenant Lepore retire. So there's always a gap before we fill that position as a patrolman and then fill that gap as a lieutenant. So we're not spending that money as top grade lieutenant. So there is cost savings throughout the year. So it's always a trickle effect through the 12 months. So it's always being monitored. Mr. Dasmo does a wonderful job with his team.
All right, well, great. Are there any questions, commissioners?
I have none. Thank you. Very good report. Appreciate it.
Excellent
Likewise,
report.
I have none. Great report. Thank you.
Our next will be our operations report, selective enforcement. Who's doing that one today? I don't see.
Commissioner, I'll be doing that for him.
Oh, Deputy Chief Blake, you've changed.
Yeah, he's on
Yeah.
vacation.
Yep. Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
So for our April operations report, our Detective Bureau activity, they had, for month of April, their cases went up by burglaries, it was 2, burglary to motor vehicle was 3, robberies were 4, larcenies 5. They had no assaults, shootings with a victim, they had 1 shooting without a victim, they had 5 death investigations, 9 IVOAs, and 14 others. No homicides, no sexual assaults. So for a year to date, we were up just a few.
How do you
it's-
categorize others? I'm sorry, Chief, Deputy Chief Lepore. What
sorry?
what categories, in other words, require that you put them on the other? That's my question.
Okay, so for the Detective Bureau, sometimes we have forgery investigations, there's bad checks,
Okay.
there's they do a whole bunch of other investigations that aren't listing on here as their significant cases.
Got it. Thank you.
So for the month of April, they opened 16 cases. They had a suspect that was arrested by warrant and charged with criminal possession of a firearm, reckless endangerment, criminal attempt of assault first, and illegal discharge of a firearm. One of their other major cases was a suspect was arrested at Westchester County Jail and extradited to Norwalk and charged with robbery first and conspiracy to commit robbery second. That was stemming from a robbery at the Sono Collection at the mall. Special services activity. So in April, they opened 39 cases. They had 11 felony arrests, no misdemeanors. They served 12 arrest warrants and had 6 search warrants served. Their major or significant cases included a suspect arrested during a car stop after officers located crack cocaine, fentanyl, and heroin on him. The search warrant they executed at a residence where crack cocaine was seized and the suspect was arrested for possession of narcotics. And another search warrant was executed at the Clever Smoke Shop on New Canaan Avenue, where the suspect was arrested for marijuana possession. He had 13 pounds of marijuana products seized. For the Special Victims Unit, in April, they had 47 cases opened. They had no felony, no misdemeanor or arrest warrants or search warrants served. They had a total of 48 family violence incidents that were reported in April, and they have several ongoing criminal investigations. For the Operations SC report. So for the month of April, you can see our citations increased, they doubled, okay, to 1,884 citations. That has a lot to do with distracted driving grant that went on through the month of April. And then the breakdown of where a lot of the citations went through is right below, if you'd like to take a look at that. And if we compare that to April of last year, where we had 1,723, but if you compare it to March of 2024, you'll see that we had distracted driving in April of every year. So that's why the number has increased so much. We don't have a graph in the operations of 2024, but you can see 25 where we are with the SC. For the Marine Unit activity, they met with Maritime Center and the Seaport Associations in the beginning of the season to get together and go through some of their stuff that they have ongoing with events at the Maritime Center and Seaport handle. Patrol Division Abandoned Car Unit, there are 108 calls for service related to abandoned cars. As a result of follow-ups, 15 vehicles were towed off the city streets. Total criminal arrests for April of 2025 was 157. And Patrol Division calls, they handled 7,292 calls. And if you see, second platoon is still our busiest shift. And on the last page, we have the breakdown of the overall significant calls for service that were taken.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Lepore. I've got a question, but you probably won't know the answer to it. But is there a yearly comparison chart of the monthly Patrol Division calls? And is that something that CALEA requires that we keep it somewhere, but we just don't get it in our packet?
We do keep that. Absolutely,
do?
we do keep that. We have it actually under our MPD reports, and it's just a matter of putting in some of the parameters to do that. If you'd like that included in here, I can make note of it, and we can do that for you for next month.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So you'd like monthly, you would like the monthly
Comparison.
monthly
You know,
comparison
just
for
like
the
we do
year?
for the S&E operations, just to see where we are as far as calls per year.
So,
You know, like
Deputy
January,
Chief-
February, March.
Deputy Chief, what we can do is we can do a monthly and then a year to date.
Okay, yeah, that
We
would
do
work.
two variables. Two
Okay.
indices.
Yes.
Very
Do you
good.
want that for SC or do you want that for patrol operations, patrol division?
Just Patrol Division,
Okay.
unless
Today.
some of the commissioners want something else in addition.
I'm good.
Commissioner Lopez.
Yeah, we can do that. We can run those numbers. We just have to set the different parameters. So
Okay,
we should
thank
have
you.
something for you. And
Thank
that
you.
is it
Appreciate
for the operations report.
You did a very good job. Thank you so much for standing in for Deputy Chief Blake.
Thank you.
Our next item on the agenda is Community Affairs Report. Deputy Chief Denho.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, commissioners. So for the month of April 2025, our community affairs report is as follows. Community Police Services Division had a total of 1,319 calls for service in the month of April. They had 18 major events, which we've listed here. They conducted an autism awareness event at the Norwalk Green. There was a microforest community meeting at Meadow Gardens. We hosted a peace, love, and accessibility outreach tour at the police department. There was a funeral escort on April 3rd. There was a Sono Collection Dance-a-thon, which the officers provided security. The West Norwalk Association Community Meeting, TNP Steering Committee meeting on marijuana usage, the Round Center Proclamation for Sexual Assault Violence at Westport Town Hall, the Vaishaki Festival at the Gurudwara Sikh Temple, located at West and Elm Street. It celebrates the Spring Harvest Festival and Solar New Year in Northern India, which is something that we attend every year. It's a good time. On April 19th, they attended the World Alive Easter Egg Hunt at the Norwalk Green. And then the next 3 days saw some funeral escorts. On April 26th, there was an Earth Day Festival at the Norwalk Green.
Chief
I'm sorry?
Dinho, can I stop you at the Earth Day Festival?
Yes, sir.
As you know, I did attend that, and one thing that I found quite, to me, it was concerning, was the way the police cars followed behind us going against the traffic. I thought that was quite different. Is there a reason it wouldn't be done the other way, where they're going with the traffic? And
It certainly could be done the other way, if I remember correctly from that day. The procession, when it was walking, was going in the opposite, or on the sidewalk in the opposite direction of traffic. So that's something that we could look at for next year, to maybe switching that route around, and then we could then follow the pedestrians on the sidewalk with the flow of traffic.
correct. Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. We'll make a notation of that for next year. Okay. There was the, continuing on, the Old Navy safety event, the Valley View Road Neighborhood Forum at the Norwalk Library. We had a coffee with a cop at Sono Harbor. And then on April 30th, they had a car seat installation clinic. Our traffic unit for the month of April had a total of 842 motor vehicle stops, 13 parking violations were issued, 5 child car seat installations were performed, and 2 abandoned vehicles, and 2 arrests for DWI. The accident reconstruction team handled 2 motor vehicle accidents. There was a fatality on West Avenue on April 13th at about 3:51 in the morning. A vehicle collided with a stopped moped at the intersection of West Avenue and Reed Street. The operator of the moped was transported to Norwalk Hospital, where he died soon after due to his injuries. Investigators processed the scene for evidence. Results are pending from the state's toxicology lab and from the state medical examiner's office. The unit is expecting to be ready to go to warrant by the end of this month. So they should be ready to submit a warrant to the court by the end of the month for that. The second one was a serious injury on Wilson Avenue on April 19th at about 7:15 in the evening. It's an ongoing active investigation also, where a bicyclist on Wilson Avenue was struck by a vehicle, causing serious injuries, and was transported to Norwalk Hospital. Accident investigators processed the scene for evidence, and an arrest warrant application was submitted to the court for the operator of the vehicle. And that operator has since turned himself in, and the arrest warrant was served. For the month of April, we had 96 major selective enforcement locations, which we have listed by day for the entire month. And as you know, those are a combination of the Yukon Traffic Database study based on motor vehicle accidents. Those are in red, and then requests from our residents are listed in green. Our behavioral health unit opened 60 cases for service in the month. They addressed 60 of them. 34 were closed. 27 of those were hospitalized, and in 4 of those, they partnered with the court. 15 were referred to services, and in 12 of those, they worked with family. The training division had a total of 5 subject areas taught for the month, 24 different attendees, and the Norwalk Animal Control handled a total of 67 calls for service, 5 of which were animal bite incidents. There was 6 instances of enforcement action taken, and 2 dogs were adopted out. And attached is the training report for the month of April. You can see the breakdown of classes and attendees.
Are there any, thank you so much for this report. Deputy Chief, are there any questions, clarifications by any of the commissioners?
Great report, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Excellent report. Thank you, Chief Dunn.
Thank you,
All
Commissioner.
right. Thank you so much. Our next item is the administrative report by Deputy Chief Lepore.
Good evening again. For our grants and
evening.
inspections, under our administrative report, DUI grant had 6 hires for the month of April for a total of 56 hours that were worked. Officers made 36 car stops, issued 32 infractions, and made 5 DUI arrests. JAG grant funds were used to purchase 2 handheld radar devices. And then our lieutenant in charge of grants attended a Project Safe Neighborhoods grant submission meeting. At the time of this report, there was no word on the award at this time, but we've received a verbal that we did get some funding for the Project Safe Neighborhood. So we're waiting for written confirmation. That'll be in next month's report. Big for the month of April was the distracted driver grant that ran the entire month of April. There was 108 scheduled hires with 95 of the jobs positions filled. They worked a total of 768 hours with over 1,000 car stops. 931 infraction tickets were issued and 2 DUI arrests were made out of it. There was no other grant funding that was utilized during April. We continually monitor and looking for new grants and state and federal grants to apply for. For the staff inspections, Detective Bureau was scheduled and inspected in month of April. There was no discrepancies that were found. And then the evidence fund and special services was audited due to the commander transition. No discrepancies were found, and also with that. For the crime scene unit for the month of April, 112 persons were fingerprinted, 41 of which were pistol permits. They had 24 case requests for DVDs and photos. They processed 23 cases for evidence. They had 118 patrol cases processed for camera and photo downloads. 13 cases were delivered to the State Forensic Lab for processing, and 19 were returned back with results to NPD. 14 vehicles continue to be stored at our storage area for court cases that are pending. They conducted 7 backgrounds on massage therapists, 3 solicitor permits for Trinity Solar. And the CSI van was deployed 3 times during the month for serious or fatal motor vehicle accidents, 2 of which Deputy Chief Dinho described earlier. Professional standards and accreditation, they assisted Corporation Counsel with 2 civil cases that are ongoing. And we still have 1 intern from Sacred Heart University that completed her hours. And then we had 1 intern that was working with the Special Victims Unit and now is transitioning over to the Behavioral Health Unit. She is doing a double major and she would like to stay on and her internship here at the NPD. For body and dashboard cameras, we had 1 issue with a body camera and 1 dashboard camera. They were returned. 2 taser replacements were received back from Axon. We had 36 requests for case videos. We had 29 cases that were burned to disk and awaiting payment. And we had 13 electronic shares with Stanford Court. They continue to perform audits monthly on equipment usage and tagging, and the activation rate for the month was at 86.9%. No, that doesn't sound like 100% usage, but there's a lot of cases that you don't need it for. Like there's some calls for service that are not required if somebody's doing like picking up a package or something like that, or dropping off payroll. So there are some cases that you don't need it. And on an average for the state, actually, we are good. Usually it averages around 75%. So Norwalk is
We're
very
above
good
average.
percentage. For accreditation, we are continuing to collect proofs, and we're getting ready for our September audit. That's it.
All right, thank you very much for another excellent report.
Thank you.
Now, our next item is the personnel matters, tuition reimbursements. Chief?
Yes. The first one is for Lieutenant Sophia Galino. She currently has a bachelor's degree. She's pursuing a master's degree in social work. Sacred Heart University, Masters of Social Work, MSW. 2 courses. She's applying for tuition reimbursement, clinical assessment and diagnosis, and generalist practice, SW generalist practice. 6 credits, total $5. The fee, $55. They were not late fees. They were just regular registration fees. Total is $5,195. 50% of that is $2,597. She did receive previous permission from this commission in January 2022 to pursue this course. She has applied, provided the course approval. Her grades are also attached. She got an A in both, and so is the receipt on the last page.
Looks like everything's in order, and all I see are A's on a lot more courses than the one that we're reimbursing her for, so keep up the good work. I need a motion to, for tuition reimbursement for
I will
Sophia.
motion for tuition reimbursement for Lieutenant Sophia Galino in the amount of $2,597.50.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, tuition reimbursement is approved
Yes.
for Sophia Galina.
Yes. The next personnel item is a application for tuition reimbursement for Lieutenant Robert Zwillich. He currently has his bachelor's degree from Fairfield University. He's pursuing a master's degree from Seton Hall University, master's degree in law enforcement and executive leadership. He took 1 course, Resilient Policing, 3 credits, came out to $4,395 plus the fee of $275, totaled $4,670. 50% of that is $2,335. He received permission has provided the minutes to that meeting in his package.
Okay,
He has provided.
Chief, you're freezing up and going in and out on us.
I'm sorry. I said, what did you get?
What did I get?
Yeah, what were you able to hear?
I got the $2,335 that
Okay.
we are.
Yeah, so
reimbursed.
the total reimbursement is 50% at $2,335. He got permission in August of 2023 from the commission to take this course. He has provided the minutes to that approval are attached.
Okay,
He has also provided the receipt from Seton Hall for the course and his grades, which were an A.
wow. I'm
Everything appears to be in order.
just gonna say this again. We've got some smart officers here. All we're seeing here are A's, so I need a motion for approval of this tuition reimbursement for Zillich.
I move for approval for tuition reimbursement for Officer Zurich in the amount of $2,335.
Okay, all in favor of the tuition tuition reimbursement, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Tuition reimbursement approved. Congratulations, officers,
Congratulations.
for the jobs that you've
Congratulations to
done.
both.
Still doing your job and getting more information to do it better. Okay, Chief, informational items.
Yes, letters of commendation from the citizens. We got a call to the front desk for Officer Macari and Officer Patricia Nelson. While working the front desk, Officer Bell received a phone call from a Judith Durham. She wanted to call and compliment both Officers Macari and Patricia Nelson for their kindness and attentiveness in handling her issues on consecutive nights. She was very pleased with the compassion they showed and wanted both officers put in for whatever award applied. And John Bell passed it along, the complimentary message to Lieutenant Tejada. So that's Patricia Nelson is a recent transferee from Milford PD within the past 8 months. So she's doing a wonderful job.
And Michael is that little go-getter. He got his undergrad in 3 years and got his master's after he was hired here in what, 18 months? I don't know. But
Just about that.
congratulations.
Just about that.
Congratulations to both of them. They are making very good officers. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yes.
Great to hear.
Congratulations to-
Uh,
Congratulations to both Officer Nelson and McCary. I've seen Officer McCary interact with the public on a few occasions. He has a great personality. He's kind. He treats people with respect. He loves his job and it shows. Officer McCary is a shining star for Norfolk. Not to take away from Officer Nelson, who has equally done a great job, and I thank them both.
Agreed. We had an email from a Mrs. Hoxa to Officer Seats, Richard Seitz. Hope this message finds you well. I wanted to sincerely thank you for your presence and support on the day of my accident on April 24th, 2025 at Westport Avenue. As it was the first car accident I've ever experienced, and especially with my child in the car, it was an incredibly stressful moment for her. His calm, professional, and reassuring demeanor helped her feel safe and cared for during a very difficult time. Your attentiveness and responsibility stood out, and I really appreciate how you handled the situation. Thank you again for your service and dedication. It made a real difference to me and my family on that day.
Thank you for taking the time to send this letter or this email. They don't have to do this. And
No.
it's just wonderful that they appreciate it so much and that the officers make such an impression on, mitigating their circumstance and their discomfort and their embarrassment. Take the time to say thank you for the job that you did. Thank you, Chief, for sharing that with us.
Congratulations, Officer Seitz.
Also from Lieutenant Zwillich to Officer for a complimentary letter for Officer Murdoch. Judith Durham called the lieutenant's office and spoke to Lieutenant Zwillich. She was extremely grateful for the service he provided at her home in regards to her domestic situation with a sister. She wanted to express her utmost thanks and could not believe how patient he was and stressed the fact that you were an amazing listener. She said that with her being elderly, it was extremely helpful to her that you listened to her whole situation and helped her out immediately. She appreciated how you took the time to explain every step taken and followed through. Thanks for representing the department so well. For Officer Murdoch. He's been with us for about 2 years now. Very younger generation of officers doing excellent work.
Excellent work.
Awesome.
I think our department is really in good hands. It's with the older citizens, they are just so used to being dismissed, disregarded, and not heard. It's wonderful that they were in this situation and took time to say thank you.
Yes. This one's from Mr. Jensen. I received this email. Good morning, Chief. I'm in writing to express my thanks for the tremendous assistance he was given by Officer Stephen Aniskevich. He'll try to be brief, but it is a long email, so bear with me. Basically, his car kept breaking down on the way home to Enfield from his son's wedding in New Jersey. It was a harrowing day as my second breakdown came to the center lane on the Cross Bronx Expressway in New York City. The car kept overheating, and I know nothing about mechanics, so I let it rest and then try again. He broke down again in Darien, then again in Norwalk. At this point, I became despondent and called the Norwalk Police Department, not knowing if I would ever get home. Officer Anaskevich responded within minutes, immediately had my hood open and determined the problem: a small leak in the coolant container and no oil. I began trying to reach a couple of friends who lived nearby with no answer from either. I began panicking and crying, adding to my broken ankle. I'm barely getting around with a cane and serious heart condition. On top of that, the wedding drained my he had some issues. More or less, it was a bad day for him in totality. Officer Anaskevich did suggest transport to Norwalk Hospital as he seemed generally concerned about his health and well-being, but he had refused. Officer Anaskevich told this gentleman to hang tight, and he left the scene. He returned approximately 10 minutes later. The officer returned less than 10 minutes later, toting a 5-quart container of Valvoline oil. He poured it in, double-checked to see if everything was going okay physically, and closed the hood. He had offered to pay the officer, and Officer Anaskevich said absolutely not. He had taken the money out of his own pocket and paid for the oil for the gentleman's engine. He realized that he was having a bad day and the importance of his son's wedding and that his current health conditions. Just wanted to help him out. He then had me follow him to I-95 on ramp and got him on his way to Enfield, Connecticut. He made it home unscathed, about 90 miles away, around 11 p.m. And so that was a successful assistance on a bad day for this Mr. Jensen, who had some car trouble while traveling from his son's wedding. And obviously, he's very grateful about Officer Anaskevich taking the money out of his pocket and buying him some oil and getting his car working again while he was on the road so he can get home.
That's
Wow.
outstanding.
Yeah.
And that's one of our newer officers.
Yes, reason another lateral transfer came about
Mhm.
2.5 years ago. Excellent. This isn't our first time we've gotten complimentary letters for Officer Anaskevich.
Yes, yes, indeed. Well, thank you so much, Chief, for sharing that with us, and tell Officer I'm not going to even try to say his name, to keep up the good work.
And I just,
Yes. And the next one is actually a note from GA1, Stanford Courthouse. One of the prosecutors wanted to drop a quick note for Officers Richard Holmes, Paul Wargle, and Michael Macari. Once again, a defendant pled guilty to burglary in the second degree, unlawful restraint in the first degree, violation of a protector, and threatening in a second degree, obviously stemming from a domestic violence situation. The defendant received a total of a sentence of 12 years incarceration, suspended after 3, but the prosecutor wanted to send this note to us, which is not common for us to get these kind of attaboys from the courthouse. So it obviously was a very serious case involving domestic violence, unlawful restraint, and burglary. Obviously, it sounds like he broke into a house. And Officer Richard Holmes, Paul Wargo, and Michael Macari did a wonderful job in apprehending this individual, but not only that, supporting the arrest, but probably great reports and investigation and assistance to the victim. So in totality, they once again did a great job.
Thank
Great
you
work.
so.
great
Oh,
work by the 3 officers, and I had the pleasure of knowing the 3 officers, working with them on the through the commission, and they are all skilled professionals and definitely appreciate their work. And these kind of letters have become the norm with this department. They're certainly not one-offs. They're doing a great job. Thank you.
And to
Thank you.
commend them for a terrific job making the Norwalk Police Department look really shiny. And I think it says a lot when the community and various different agencies, whether it's Norwalk City Hall, whether it's the state of Connecticut, it just says a heck of a lot of the professionals we have.
yes, I wanted to comment that not only do they keep our city safe and in a professional way, they're adding, their experience and their knowledge and lending to other arms of the judicial branch. And the training, the courses, the grants that you get for us to be able to learn some more and be out there more. All of this is important, and it's just adding to just a phenomenal. And we have a great chief. Oh, you didn't ask for that, did you?
No, no,
Okay.
Good
But
team.
thank you so
Great team.
much for sharing this. This is uncommon. This is uncommon. A letter from one of the court officials. They don't do that kind of stuff. So we
No,
did some
yes.
outstanding work, and please tell the officer that we're so proud of them, that they put into action what they learned. All
Yes.
right, that concludes our agenda for today. Our next meeting is June 16th, 2025 at 4:15 or so. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I will put that motion forward to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 We are adjourned at 6:06.
Thank you.
Good night.
all.
Have
Have
a
a
good
great
week.
Have a
week.
good weekend.
Yeah.
You too.